Good evening and welcome to Business Today. This is the program where we talk about business, entrepreneurship and many insightful topics with high-profile individuals. If you don't want to miss anything, keep tuning in to this program every Wednesday from 5 p.m. Today's program too is filled with insightful discussions with a prominent personality. Keep tuning in. This is Business Today. Today's personality migrated and went to Australia 16 years ago and established his business, and he's now a successful app developer in Australia. To see more about today's personality, let's take a look at the character profile.
A dynamic entrepreneur, Anushka Bandara is the CEO and co-founder of Elegant Media, an award-winning Australian software development company founded in 2010. An alumni of DSA Nanayaga College and Charles Sturt University, Australia, Anushka draws on his interest in technology, business and marketing to drive the growth of Elegant Media. Under Anushka's leadership, Elegant Media is today a market leader in the Australian software development sector with operations in Australia, New Zealand, Sri Lanka and the United States. Elegant Media works with the Australian Army, Air Force and Taxation Office and serves a wide customer base that includes governments, multinationals, SMEs and individuals. Anushka is also the CEO of dreamjobs.lk, one of Sri Lanka's largest online recruitment platforms. Anushka is always working on improving agile business processes to provide better outcomes for innovative projects.
Mr. Anushka, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Yeah, pleasure to be on the show, Prashant.
Yes, now thank you for being here despite your busy schedule. Now, to start off today's question, I'd like to begin the first question by asking you what you think of the present situation in the country and how exactly it can impact business sustainability.
Look, especially in the IT industry, it is a $1.5 billion worth of software industry in Sri Lanka. So especially we are running in a very difficult time, very difficult situation. So everybody has to be patient enough. And so the business to be sustainable, so the energy, the power is the essential source of things. And so we are running out of the energy and to run the business and they run the industry, so you need to make the decision above and beyond, and also you need to have like out of the box strategy, because it's not normal, like it's not like 2 years ago and you have like a 24 hours power, you have the diesel, you have the petrol, but we are in a very difficult situation. So everyone try to survive, so you have to give the priority for the essential services and the health, education, so then comes all other industries. So survival is very, very important, and so to be survive, it's cannot really done by a company or the government, so we need the public support and the stakeholders of the companies, and especially our Sri Lankan staff, Sri Lankan team, who working in these industries, the companies, so they have to be patient and they have to be supported, and they have to like make a decision going above and beyond the lines.
Now, as a contributor to the Sri Lankan economy, how important do you think it is for Sri Lanka to establish and to showcase an image of stability and to showcase an image of normalcy? How important is it?
It is very, very important, because the world watching us and the foreign investors are watching us. So the message we are giving here is very, very important for the country's economy, very, very important for the industry. So, so all the countries are in a difficult situation. So like inflation is skyrocket at all the Western countries, but they don't like showcase or provide a message like we don't have a political or economic stability. So it's all about like a short-term things. So what we are lacking here is like we make these things going to another level. So it is, yes, I understand, so it is not something happen overnight. This is the part of the blame has to go to the COVID-19 pandemic. And plus, for last 70 odd years, or whether do we have any plan how we increase our productivity, how we going to get foreign currency, because the most of the Sri Lankan businesses, they focus on import businesses. And if you're talking about like what are the top 10 companies in Sri Lanka, so most of the companies comes under the import category. So do we export enough for last 70 years or even last 10 years? Have we had any plan to export things? Yes, traditionally tea, coconut and rubber was our exports, but world has been changed. It is like now you have to think about like emerging industries, like especially IT. Like 20 years ago, India, Bangalore in India and Sri Lanka were in the same level. But look now, so they gone fast and further and further. So we haven't had any plan how we going to develop the skill set which required for modern day technologies. So in my industry, I knew like IT in mobile app development, especially the mobile app is a $1 billion ecosystem. So it's especially like a very rare to find mobile app
the current economy and the current market. I have another question for you. How important do you think it is for Sri Lanka to start developing its own products? So from Sri Lanka, for Sri Lanka, what do you think about that, developing our own products for our own people?
That's good point to think about. And so you can't develop all the products, and you have to think about your strengths. So what are the products we can develop here easily and cheaply? So you shouldn't like, as an example, if you wanted to build a vehicle, you shouldn't manufacture all the parts in Sri Lanka. So you have to think about where you can get the cost benefits and what are the parts you can manufacture cheaper here. And is that the assemble business is cheaper here? Then let's focus on that. And so especially the agriculture, software industry, the manufacture. So those three areas we have to think about. I'm not like a big believer whether we can win in manufacturing business, because the other countries like in our region, like even Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia and China, so they have a large amount of experience in the manufacturing businesses. So but what's the strength of Sri Lanka? Because our people are very educated and very talented. The human resources is our asset. So we have to focus on the service industry. We have to focus on the software industry. We have to focus on business process outsourcing industry, because we have got the talent. We don't have the labor, we don't have the cheap labor, but we have the talent. So I believe we have to focus on the service industry plus the agriculture, because we are in a much better position in terms of weather. We can produce agriculture stuff, for really good stuff, for cheaper and better when compared to other countries in the region. But you got to use the technology, because again, if you don't use the technology, you use in the traditional method, the countries who has a cheaper labor like India or the other Southeast Asian countries, they're going to overpass you. You cannot compete with them.
Now, like you said, technology plays a key role in any business, and any company that utilizes IT and technology seems to be getting ahead of the other companies. Now, as you are a major stakeholder in the IT industry, how important do you think that the IT industry exporters can contribute to the local economy?
Well, so as I said, like it was 1.5 billion as per data on 2019. So we were talking about like a reach to 5 billion by 2020. So we had a plan in 2015, but we haven't reached there. So the IT industry is huge and your market is huge. You're not like selling your product or services for one country. So you got the market North America, you got Europe, you got Australasia region, like all these regions. So they need the talent. They need talent to build the next level IT product, next level software product. And if we have the talent and the companies are willing to hire Sri Lankan team, Sri Lankan staff, our talent, our local talent. So what you're going to earn? You're going to earn dollars. What's our problem now? We don't have dollars. So you got a perfect solution, and you don't have to, if you are in agriculture, you have to wait for 3-4 years to get your harvest. But in service industry, especially software industry, you don't have to wait for longer. Especially like a bachelor degree is the foundation to be a software engineer. But even if you don't have a bachelor degree, if you follow a short course, if you follow a 1-year diploma, you should be eligible to work in the software industry and earn dollars for the country.
Exactly. Now, as a dollar earner, what is your expectation for support for the IT industry?
I'm not expecting any support from governments. I'm expecting support and motivation from general public. So you need to think about, this is the benchmark, this is the industry. We all has to be involved, because what you're going to earn is far more than what you're going to earn in other industry. So if you're asking me like one thing what I'm expecting government to be provide, the IT companies, software company who doesn't need any loans, but they expecting like a continuous supply of power, electricity. And I understand we got a problem, it's like a boomerang. So you have to earn dollars, then you're going to solve your problem. So and for the universities, so the universities has to update their syllabuses, and they have to go with the latest trend, because the industry is changing rapidly day by day. You got to like change your subjects, change your syllabus.
Exactly. And now, while we're talking about the IT industry increasing rapidly and developing rapidly, what is the risk of Sri Lanka's IT industry losing to that of other regional countries?
Well, if I'm not a founder or CEO of Elegant Media, the Elegant Media won't operate in Sri Lanka. And we all like talking about why we still operate in Sri Lanka, but I don't want to take this to another country. So the countries, neighboring countries like India, they don't have the issues what we have, and they don't wait for the Sri Lankan economy, the economic stability or the power issues to be solved. So because they cannot ask their customers to wait, so they are moving to other countries. Especially India is the biggest market, 1.4 billion people, and the other neighboring countries like Pakistan, the Bangladesh, and even Nepal. So they're doing well in IT now. So we shouldn't think about we are the greatest. We have a huge competition in South Asia and Southeast Asia. So if you don't catch up our game, and if we don't think about things in the positive manner, rather complaining or rather try to control the issues what we cannot control, so we better think about the matters what we can control based on the resources what we have.
Right. Now, Sri Lankans have made a lot of sacrifices. And how important do you think it is for Sri Lankans to make sacrifices for the greater good of the economy?
I don't think we can ask more. I think we have asked enough from people. So as I said earlier, so we shouldn't focus on the problems what we cannot control, and we should focus on what we can control. So if each and every individual, if they do better, and your income, your revenue going to be increased, your company's revenue going to be increased, and your country's revenue economy going to be improve. So if I talking about like these things what's happening on the street, and the most of the teams, like they work full time, and they participate for those events and those protests and things like that. But not everyday person who earn daily salary, they are not on those protests. So if you work in full time, think about like how you're going to improve yourself as a person, and how you're going to improve your company's situation, how you're going to increase your company's revenue, and so eventually your country's revenue is going to be increased.
So the basic message that you want to give the people is sometimes we have to stop focusing on external matters that we can't control and actually take control of our own lives and do our part so that we can increase it as a whole.
Definitely, because nobody perfect, no individual perfect, no company is perfect, or no country is perfect. So everybody got the problem. So we have to like focus on how we going to do better based on the limited resources you have now.
Right. Now you have over 100 employees and you manage them. And how has it been tackling the COVID-19 pandemic? And people have been frantically trying to cope up with their daily lives and manage their business work. How have you been able to manage all of that?
We were lucky enough in the industry you can work from home, and also like unusually 2020 was a huge year for the IT industry, software industry. Even 2021 was growing, and so based on the pandemic, the industry hasn't slowed down, and I can see like there's a bit of slowdown in the global IT industry in the first quarter of 2022, but we haven't had like any downturn in the first couple of years of the pandemic.
Right. Now you are an app developer, and are there any apps in Sri Lanka which we can capitalize on? If so, what can we do to increase and improve them?
Yes, so we working with the Australian government's institutes and the lot of startups, and there's a lot of ways like we can improve things, like in Sri Lanka, especially like these government administrations and even the corporate administration, that can be save time and resources if you introduce in mobile apps, so people can work, people can communicate from home, people can exchange a document from home, like rather coming to an office physically and waiting for things to be happen. So I feel like these compliance procedures, so you better use the technology.
Right. Now you are an entrepreneur, a business leader, and we have a lot of people who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs and business leaders. Do you have any sort of tips and any messages, any words of advice for aspiring young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, be passionate about what you do, because we don't do the businesses, we are not becoming entrepreneurs just because of money. So yes, money is important to be survive, money is important to go to a next level, but that's not everything. You have to have a hunger, you have to have a passion. So what you wanted to do, why you get out of the bed every day, so what you wanted to do you want to change the world, do you want to like change people's life? And when you're going through the journey, you're going to meet a lot of ups and downs, and the key thing is to be survive. And so there are going to be a situation you feel like, why I'm doing this, it's too hard, it's too stress, but hang in there and your good days will come tomorrow.
That's excellent news. And basically what something that I've learned along my journey as well is, if you chase money, you can't really catch it. But if you chase your passion and you go through the motions and you do whatever it takes to make your dream come to a reality, money will follow on its own.
Definitely, yeah, because you follow your passion, you follow your dreams, and you helping people, so that's keep you motivated, and then money will follow you. Exactly.
All right, and that winds up today's program. Thank you so much for being with us today, despite your busy schedule, coming back to Sri Lanka and being on this interview with us.
Thank you, Prashant. My pleasure.
All right, and with that, it's time for us to wind up today's episode of Business Today. Do join us next time as well. Till then, have a good night.